welcome to the Transfer Exchange Show. We are live. How wrong me and Nathan were. But if being that wrong produces games like that, I never want to be right. I said it would be the game of the weekend, and for me, it's been one of the games of the tournament. End to end, you must be absolutely flying right now, Marie.
Yeah, I mean, look at my. I'm rocking, and this has the 4 stars. You know, this is very old.
I'm loving that. I'm loving that.
Yeah.
With a retro vibe as well. People will be trying to take it off, you know. I think that's myself.
I am stunned by this game. You know, this was like a blockbuster game for the ages. And, you know, I thought after the first 10 minutes, when Germany was basically destroying Portugal without scoring, I just remembered some of the other Germany-Portugal games we've seen over the years, including the 4-0 victory at the 2014 World Cup, which I believe was Germany's first game of that tournament. And, you know, Cristiano Ronaldo had never scored against Germany before today. And think of all the club teams and countries he has scored against, probably like dozens and dozens. So I was like, you know, this is going to be a blowout. And then, of course, Ronaldo scored. And I was like, what's happening, you know?
Against the run of play as well, because as I said in our group chat, Germany came right out the blocks. And I was so surprised by that, because I was worried that this German team lacked that pace. But they managed to find pace, but they also had that guile around the pitch. The passing was slick, and the passing had pace, which was the most important thing, and they were finding gaps.
Yeah, they were excellent. And finally, they were able to really have those cross cuts in the last third with Robin Gosens, you know, having his best game in a Germany jersey, perhaps.
Unreal.
And Kimmich was being Kimmich. And, you know, it's just, I mean, I also thought Matthias Ginter looked very good in the first half. He often he set up that first offside goal on the right flank. He often kind of joined attack. This was just a very good game from Germany. This was kind of the old Germany that we all knew before the 2018 World Cup, where everything went so wrong.
Let's get on to that Gosens, that volleyed assist. I couldn't believe it. I thought it was Kimmich that volleyed it across, and I saw it was Gosens. I was like, whoa, this geezer needs some credit here. Unbelievable technique. Hit it sweetly. And then, have they classed it as an own goal, or have they given it to Havertz? Are they ruining it?
It was crazy. Like the UEFA, they gave it to Havertz for like the first 30 minutes, and then just before halftime, they were like, "Oh no, never mind, it's Diaz." I felt bad because everyone loses. It's not like Diaz is standing there like, "Hi." You know.
yeah. He's not getting a goal, a notch on his goal tally. He's not getting that. Give it to Havertz.
With things like that, this isn't Hummels against France, you know, where he's trying to clear the ball and it goes very wrong. If Diaz were not there, then Havertz would have slotted it in. And if Havertz were not there, then Diaz, we know Diaz. He would have cleared it. So I really think, I mean, for me, this is kind of like, you know, let it slide, give it to the guy who wants it. But I guess if we have to be very exact, then it was an own goal. And by the way, the 5th own goal of this Euro, which is
I know. I saw your tweet about the own goals are winning in the top scorer chart as well, which is crazy. You must have been worried at first though when Cristiano Ronaldo scored, and it felt a bit like, as you said, you weren't taking your chances at first, and then the man himself pops up with a goal.
Right. No, I was very concerned because if Germany has a flaw, then it's been efficiency in attack. You know, Germany is very good at controlling games. They even had more possession against France. But, and you know, that's the World Cup winners. But Germany doesn't really have a world-class center forward like they did for generations. You know, they had Klinsmann, they had Miroslav Klose. You know, this is a team that just as spoiled as they have always been with goalkeepers, they've always been spoiled with fantastic center forwards.
Yeah.
And that's just not the case right now. So I think we were all worried about that. And, you know, like, would Sané start? Would Havertz start? Would Gnabry start? Would they all start in that fake position? because Werner is kind of like out of form. So everyone was really worried about what happens in front of goal. And then, if you have Portugal scoring away, essentially, because they're scoring in Munich, I think everyone was just worried they were just going to defend for the rest of the game and maybe carry the 1-0 victory or maybe a 1-1 tie. And then, of course, that did not happen because somehow Germany switched the button on.
Yeah. Another own goal. And then just after half-time, Kai Havertz pops in with an actual goal that he can claim for himself. And it was kind of how many goals can Germany score from then on? Because they were just in cruise control.
They were in cruise control. And I just think, for me, Robin Gosens, that was perhaps the most dominant performance of any individual player in a match so far at the Euros, with the exception perhaps of Patrick Schick in that game where he scored both goals and had that gorgeous goal for the Czech Republic. Yeah. But before the World Cup, having looked at Germany's squad, like everyone outside of Germany or Italy would have been like, who is that player? Like, what is he doing in that squad? Like, of Germany's squad, where so many well-known players are, there are perhaps 3 or 4 that people, Premier League fans don't know. And he's one of them. And he's just really proven his spot in this team.
Mm-hmm. Well, he had a good season for Atalanta, and there's been a few. If you keep an eye on the transfers, you would have seen a few sneaky little transfer rumours going on about him, but nothing much at all. And I think I spoke about players in this tournament. This is an opportunity for players that potentially are getting looked at. Is to show their worth, to show how good they are on the world stage or the European stage, and he's definitely done it so far, hasn't he?
Exactly. I think he really has. And I just think, he scored 12 goals basically as a defender. He's kind of a right wing back. So, make of that what you will, if you want to call him a defender or a midfielder. It's that very modern position. He's 26 years old. He's very fast. He's tactically astute. He's not the best in short range passing. He's not the most technical in small spaces, but he's great at crossing. Yeah. And I really think some of the best teams in Europe are going to be looking at him this summer because he plays left back. Like
I know.
That's one of the hardest positions to fill for any top team.
Well, in 44 games, he's contributed to 20 goals. That's 12 goals and 8 assists. That's mad for a left back. So, and not only that, he's showing he can play in different positions for Germany as well. So, it's good for him. Joachim Low's been under a lot of pressure as well before the tournament, and even at the start of the tournament after losing to France. This must ease it off, and maybe Germany can really do something in this tournament now.
Yeah, I hope so. Honestly, I think Löw, he showed a bit of guts here because he started with the same 11 that he did against France. And I was one of the people calling for him to make, honestly, just one change. And in my opinion, Germany should go back to the system that won them the World Cup, the system that Löw used for many years, which is a back 4, then 2 in center midfield, 3 attacking midfielders / wingers, and 1 up front. And for some reason, Löw, ever since the past World Cup, has gone to a back 3 with 2 wing backs. And I just think you're not using the best personnel then, because you're using using Ginter and Rüdiger instead of using, slotting in Sané or Werner or Musiala or Neuhaus further up the field. But, kudos to him. It seemed to work today. So, I really think respect for sticking to his guns there.
Yeah, and your final group game match up against Hungary, and it looks like you could potentially. Can you still top the group now? With after that result, I think you can.
I think not. It's not in our power because France has 4 points.
Yeah.
So and we have 3. So if France beats Portugal, then they're gonna be topping the group. But anything can happen. Hungary can still go through. Hungary, if they beat Germany, which that's not inconceivable. Then they could be making it through. Hungary has some players, incidentally, that make their money in the Bundesliga and know these players really well. So don't count out Hungary either. To draw against the World Cup
France,
winners. Yeah.
So what would be a good tournament for you after this victory? Now you're hyped. You've got the feel good factor. How far do you think Germany can go after today's performance?
I don't think it changes much. I always thought that for Germany, the main challenge is making it through this group. It's a very tough group, and honestly, I think I hold this opinion alone, but there would have been no big shame if they were to not make it through this group, because this is a very strong group. The stakes are low because Löw is going after this World Cup anyway. And so it's just, I think that it's just good that they're, now in a position where they will probably make it through the group, touch wood. But I think, to be honest with you, I would have to see the bracket to see like who their next opponent would be. Because as far as I remember, there's one side of the bracket that's very hard to get through to the final, and then there's one that's easier. So I would have to know. Maybe you can help with that, or maybe we can look it up. Yeah,
we will. So Hungary on Wednesday, important game. You got to get that win, especially the way. Do you feel that Germany were kind of written off before the tournament's even started?
I don't think so. I think they were in that kind of second tier of teams. Everyone talked about Belgium and France and England, I think, as the favorites. And then there's that second tier of Portugal, Germany, Italy, Netherlands, Spain. I think Spain, unfortunately, they have slipped from that very top to rank below. Also, in some ways, because they don't have a big goal scorer. They don't have a striker. We've seen that be the issue for them. And I think in the tournament so far, there have been teams that have really, like the Czech Republic. I think they're now in that second, we have to count them in now. But I think Germany has kind of performed as expected. I think everyone in Germany expected them to lose against France, not embarrassingly, but to lose. And that's exactly what happened. And if you look at recent history, everyone expected them to beat Portugal, within Germany at least. Because Portugal is just a darling opponent for Germany. I can't really explain why, because Portugal has perhaps had the best team that it's had in about 10 years. Definitely the best team since the Figo, Rui Costa era. Deco, So definitely a force to reckon with. But Germany, this is just a team that is convenient for them, and they really showed that today. And it's not like, we can't even say that there was an efficiency thing, right? Because they had so many more chances, and then there was the disallowed goal. So I think even the scale was deserved.
No, Germany fully deserved this win, and I was, in the end, I was shocked at how much they were pulling Portugal all over the place. Portugal were lost. The positioning was awful in the end, but that was due to Germany's play. Well done, Germany. All right. Thanks for joining us today, Marie. As I said again, great game. Please press the like and subscribe, people. We'll see you on Wednesday, Marie, for the pre-match preview of the Hungary game. Big game.
Yeah, and I actually just wanted to add, because I pulled up the bracket of the Euros. So it's looking like in the next round, the group F and E will meet. And incidentally, also Group E and D will meet. So there'll be some overlap because of the weird thing that the best third teams in some groups go through. But if Germany are to progress through this group, they will meet either Poland or Slovakia or Spain or Sweden. So depending on what happens in those groups, I would expect them to beat all of those teams except for perhaps Spain. Because Spain, if we remember, beat Germany, I think it was 6-0 or 6-1 last last autumn, which was very excruciating to watch. That would definitely be a highlight match, right? To have Spain and Germany meet so early on in the knockout games. But I would expect them to beat those other teams. And I really think that the Group F is much stronger than Group E. So even if Portugal or France or perhaps Hungary meet Spain, I think Spain is basically going to be very unlucky. with whoever they're paired against.
They will be, but the thing is, Spain's team's not quite there. I think they've got a young team. As you said, they're struggling to find a striker. Morata isn't quite the guy to take over from the likes of some of the great goal scorers we've seen in Spain, like Villa and Raúl. So, but it is what it is. And Germany against Hungary Wednesday, and hopefully we see a good run after that. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, I just wanted to add one more thing for any English or Scottish watchers.
Oh, what's she gonna say?
Group D is also, so Group D to F are on the same half of the bracket going to the final, and then Group A to C are on the same half. And because England and Scotland are in Group D, you know, at one point, basically England and Germany could not both be in the final, and England and France could not both be in the final. So at some point, if England is going to have to beat France or Spain or Germany or Portugal. So something sad to leave you guys with.
Yeah, it is sad because based off the back of yesterday's performance, England aren't beating anyone. But that's a whole nother pod, and we'll do that pod tomorrow in the weekly summary. We will do the weekly summary. All right, so make sure you join us tomorrow for the weekly summary at 8 o'clock. We will just go over the week's games, and obviously the first set of last games is tomorrow as well at 5 o'clock. So we'll catch you then as well. So peace out, people. Thanks for joining us, Marie.
Peace out.
Stay safe and wash your hands.